From a kid with 2 hair colors to a boy that has more teeth than he can actually handle, here are the most unusual kids in the world. Number 10. Milliana Worthy. Milliana is a baby that looks like she just stepped out of a hair salon, with her beautiful bi-colored hair. But believe it or not, she actually was born that way. Milliana's curly locks are dark for the most part, except for the strikingly white tuft of hair on top of her head. And heck, even more amazing, her mom also has the same bi-colored hair. In fact, this condition goes back 2 generations before Milliana was even born. In scientific terms, this characteristic is called an achromatrichia, or an absence of pigmentation in the hair. This anomaly is often accompanied by vitiligo, as is the case with Milliana. However, the little girl pulls off her 2-colored skin just as much as her hair. Number 9. Tessa Evans. Tessa Evans was born with an extremely rare condition called arrhythmia. Children born with this condition have no sense of smell. In fact, they have no sinus cavities at all. In fact, at birth, Tessa had to be tube-fed due to a tracheostomy tube in her neck to help her breathe. She did eventually learn to breathe on her own through her mouth, so she's not really in deep danger, but her condition also left her with a disfigured face. Her parents agreed to let her be the first patient to undergo a few procedures to help her. A 3D printer built an implant which could be placed under the skin to give Tessa the appearance of a nose. Once she stopped growing, a tattoo artist will be able to impress natural contours and nostrils into the skin, which will give Tessa the appearance of a normal adult. The initial surgery was a complete success. The implant has given her a small nasal bump which has raised the area between her eyes. The surgery will be repeated every 2 years until they're satisfied that her face is no longer growing and developing. Tessa will eventually look like any other person, but her parents are concerned about the loss of natural instincts that come with a sense of smell. This includes the ability of detecting rotting food, poison, and burning. In that case, though, Tessa would have to adapt and learn to rely more on her other senses. Number 8. Dzambulet Ketakavav. Okay, I know I mispronounced every word in that, so I apologize. 6-year-old child here is 4 foot 7 inches tall but weighs a staggering 209 pounds. Since he was 3, he had been touted as the biggest child in the world, even officially recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records in 2003. Dzambik is so big that there isn't room for much else in his life. He is hostage to the attention that his enormousness brings him. People feed him, people talk about how big he is, he takes great pleasure in throwing his weight down on his only real piece of furniture, that being a steel-framed bed, grinning as it groans under his weight. It's one of those sad situations, but he seems to be kind of enjoying it. I guess the truly sad thing here is that his mother, instead of finding ways to make her son lose weight, seems to be enjoying all the attention that her son was getting, even trying to make money out of its condition. She was reported to be charging up to $100 to reporters who want to interview her and her son. Nelia, his mom, said that he was born weighing only 6 pounds, 6 ounces, but as he grew he ate 4 to 3 meals a day. She, however, denied that she deliberately overfed him, something I personally find hard to believe, given the fact that her ultimate dream for her son is to become a sumo wrestler. Real parent of the year there. Number 7. Didier Montalvo. Didier Montalvo had a mole that grew so big that by the age of 6 it covered the entire back like a turtle shell, earning him the nickname of Turtle Boy. The rare birthmark, also known as congenital melanotic nevus, affects around 1 in 20,000 newborn babies. However, a top surgeon described Didier Montalvo's condition as the worst he'd ever seen. Didier's life was severely affected by the growth, covering more than half of his body circumference, both in the painful itchiness of his skin and how it affected his confidence. He and his family were shunned by villagers in his home in rural Colombia in South America. And you know what else? His mother, Luz, was even told it was her fault for looking at a solar eclipse while pregnant. Ah, love thy neighbor. The family was far too poor to shell out for surgery, but his life did change when his touching story was featured in a local newspaper, and then a flood of donations poured in. While they could now afford the operation, the life-changing surgery was still by no means straightforward. In fact, it would be painful, dangerous, and complicated. Fortunately, the surgery was successful, and the former turtle boy is now living a normal life. I'm pretty sure those villagers are still jerks, though. Number 6. Bayezid Hossain. Born in Magura in 2012, Bayezid Hossain doesn't look like your typical 10-year-old, as most kids on this list do. He was born with a condition called progeria, a condition known for its characteristic aging of the body at up to 8 times the normal rate. As a result, Bayezid lives inside the body of a 70-year-old person. He has the sunken eyes and the sagging skin typical of a person of advanced age, as well as the aching joints and weak body that prevents him from doing any physical or strenuous activity. It's basically like the case of Benjamin Button, but it doesn't get any better. His appearance scares other kids, so he has very few friends. But due to his physical limitations, he has a lot of time for practicing his brain. With that, he has above average intelligence for his age. This constantly impresses his mother and teachers. It's more than likely that Bayezid will not live past his teenage years, sadly. This is because progeria patients are known to die of heart attacks around the age of 13. It does break my heart, but it also breaks his mother's heart that she's not going to have her son for as many years as she had expected. She's constantly amazed by his intelligence and determination to enjoy life like a normal child. But I suppose you're here for a good time, not a long time. Number 5. Shiloh PEPIN. Shiloh PEPIN was born with cyanomelia, which is more commonly known as mermaid syndrome. Trust me, it's not as cool as you would think with a little mermaid. Children with this condition are born with their legs fused together, hence giving them the appearance of having a tail like that of a mermaid's. Furthermore, kids who have mermaid syndrome rarely live beyond a few days after birth, hence the reason why Shiloh can be considered a medical miracle. Unlike most children born with mermaid syndrome, Shiloh's legs could not be separated due to the way her major arteries were running through her legs. This condition meant that Shiloh had no uterus, bladder, or even a large intestine. In fact, she only has one major artery here. That's one partially working kidney. Despite the circumstances, though, Shiloh continued to prove doctors wrong as she overcame her difficulties. In 2009, she celebrated her 10th birthday. Previously, she had undergone 2 kidney transplants and a number of other operations to prolong her life. Against all odds, though, she attended school, appeared on several talk shows, and was an inspiration to children all over the world. Unfortunately, though, her fight came to an untimely end at age 10, after a cold quickly turned into pneumonia. Number 4. KRISTINA PIMENOVA. KRISTINA PIMENOVA is considered by many as the most beautiful girl in the world. And really, I can't argue, but I'm also no fashionista here. She's actually been modeling since she was 3 years old. Born in Russia, she began her modeling career as a toddler who was featured in campaigns for elite brands like Dolce & Gabbana and Roberto Cavalli. She got into the modeling industry through her mother, Gilkiria Shirakova, a former model herself, who of course wanted her only daughter to follow in her footsteps. Her mother got the idea from taking her baby daughter to shoots where people would tell Gilkiria how beautiful KRISTINA was, and that Gilkiria should get KRISTINA into modeling. This is when she started to be referred to as the world's most beautiful girl. While many children are in the modeling industry at young ages, KRISTINA stands out because at her young age, she's modeling at the level of most adult professional models, and has a career that a lot of people would probably kill for. Number 3. Charlotte GARSIDE. When Charlotte GARSIDE was born, she weighed a mere 500 grams and was only 25 centimeters long. This possibly makes her the tiniest baby to have ever been born. At the time, her condition was so unusual that it didn't have a name and was described as a rare kind of dwarfism. Due to Charlotte's size, most experts thought that she wouldn't live past her first birthday. Now, 6 years old, she still fights on. Her dedicated parents, who have 3 other children, were reduced to dressing her in doll's clothing after trying for the smallest baby clothes and finding they still didn't fit. Charlotte's older sister loves to play dress-up with her. Charlotte was diagnosed with primordial dwarfism. What is that, though? Well, primordial dwarfism is not a genetically transmitted gene, but a genetic disorder during pregnancy. This means Charlotte could be born a completely healthy child like all children. The cause of the genetic disorder in the case of Charlotte, though, is completely unknown. Emma Gardes and her husband are ordinary people who have never worked with poisons and chemicals and never been in places of high radiation. They're not alcoholics or drug addicts, and they don't smoke cigarettes, and they lead a pretty normal lifestyle. While her parents will always worry about her future, they aspire to give her the best life possible. She has a stunning personality, and they just hope that everyone else will be able to see past her size and into her big heart. Now it's time for today's best pick. Today's best pick, as usual, is a submission from a subscriber just like you. So if you find something strange online and want to know more about it, send it on over to us and we'll look into it for you. Who knows, might even feature it in a future video. With that said, number 2. TIYO SATRIO. Having hands is pretty much a requirement to play video games. That is if your name isn't TIYO SATRIO. You see, TIYO loves playing games on his PlayStation so much that he plays every chance he gets, and that's despite being born with no arms as well as having no legs. No, this image is not photoshopped. He basically uses his chin and sometimes even his shoulders to use the controller. And I hate to say this, he's a lot better at video games than me nowadays. He also studies and has taught himself to write by holding a pen in his mouth. He's pretty smart too, probably smarter than me as well. The principal of his special needs school said despite him only being in the 2nd grade, he's capable of solving 4th grade mathematics problems such as multiplication and division. Before we move on, do me a favor. My analytics show that only about 15% of you watching are actually subscribed. Come on guys, what's up with that? Can you guys please hit the subscribe button? You guys watch my videos every day anyway, so you might as well subscribe and keep up to date with every video we put out. Number 1. JOHNCRIS Carl QUIRANTE. Hailing from Cebu City in the Philippines, JOHNCRIS Carl QUIRANTE was born with a rare condition known as multiple hyperdontia. This is a condition which gives him more teeth than the average person. How much more? Well, 10 times more. By the time he was in 4th grade, the boy already had around 300 teeth in his mouth. Since the discovery, JOHNCRIS has been undergoing operations to have extra teeth removed from his mouth. Otherwise, they could cause severe gum disease and eating discomfort as he gets older. It's going to take 8 operations to remove all his extra teeth, and these procedures are going to be spread over a few years to allow the gums to properly heal between each group of extractions. So far, he's not had any setbacks associated with his condition. He's actually excelling at school and on the playground. He remains a happy and positive boy despite his upcoming operations. Fortunately though, his condition was caught before it affected his quality of life. Did you know of any other unusual kids who were growing up? Let us know down below in the comments. Also make sure to check out the channel's other amazing content. As always, thank you all for watching and I'll see you all next time. Later everybody!